it's Grimmore.
好きなだけ撫
You
で
can
てい
pet
い
me
よ
all you want.
フリーレン
Hello, comrades. Welcome back. This is detectfanive, and today we are going to be watching Frieren, Season 2, Episode 7, The Divine Revolt. But before we do, let's discuss about the previous episode, 6, A Demon Slaying Request. 30 years after the death of Hamel, the hero, located in Rufen region, which happens to be Gino's hometown. Unfortunately, no people in his village are alive. They have all managed to die, including one of the greatest heroes that is far stronger than Stark, which is very impressive to bring a few of these soldiers from the Norm Company territory to come help save Gino's hometown. But alas, they were defeated by a creature that was a demon who was skillful because he used possible that he used he used four swords to attack the humans. Kino, however, is feeling upset with the situation and he doesn't understand why these creatures just can't go up against the first class mage who are willing to put their life at risk to defeating these creatures. And you could tell Ginu had so many emotions during this outcome. He was clutching to his friend's pants when he was feeling his body go limp because he was hoping that he could somehow save one person in his village, but all of them are dead. Frieren has even mentioned that she assumed that he was a demon because there was so much bloodlust when he was ready to attack the enemy that happened to not be the case. And luckily, Frieren didn't attack them immediately because Methode probably would have been really injured. Who knows what would have happened to Gino, because I doubt he would have been severely injured as Methode. But I do know that he is feeling like there's no hope because he said soon everyone's home will not be safe because after he heard about Stark's hometown being destroyed, and he probably already knows about Fern and Frieren's hometown, and just with this situation and then knowing that the North Plateau is at a bad situation as it is, I feel bad for him because he has no help for this situation. And then he even agrees with the merchants that their body should be people in his hometown should be cremated, basically turn into ash because they can't put them in the ground and put tombstones for them because the monsters are so cruel that they will even go under there to eat all of their bones and leave no traces behind, which is really sad. And he wished that wasn't a suggestion that they should have to suffer from these demons and then have their dead bodies be burned as well because they didn't deserve this. None of this outcome should be deserved, but it happened at the end of the day, which is really sad. And then we found out Methode is working under Sari because she found Sari adorable. Yeah. She also finds Fern and Frieren adorable, so she's probably going to do what they ask of her as well. So, at least she's no Cinderella. But Fern is very proud of herself for turning Sari down, and Frieren is very happy that she did as well. But anyways, moving on. Now that they came to the conclusion that this creature could possibly have one or two, but four, they need to come up with a strategy because this creature seems very strategic based on defeating these soldiers that has been defending this village for years. So, without further ado, let's get into the episode. The Divine Revolt.
先日ゲナウの相棒が戦死してな。しばらくは二人で北部高原の魔族の討伐任務に当たってもらう。
足を引っ張るなよ。
Ooh. Wow.
握手。
Yeah, now shake hands.
メトーデ、お前は自分がいいやつだと思うか？
言っている意味がわかりません。
前の相棒はいいやつだったよ。私とは正反対でな。いつも笑顔で騒がしくてな。まるで友人みたいに慣れ慣れしかった。そんな性格だから、周りにはいつも自然と人が集まってきた。
What happened to him? Oh, that was cool
バカだよ
transition.
な。子供をかばって死んだんだ。私だったらそんなバカな真似は絶対にしない。ただ一つ言えることは、北部高原の任務を任される一級魔法使いは、三度の飯より戦いが好きなやつだ。
Clearly, he does
確か
not
に不
know
思議だな。
Fern.
お前は私のようにはなるな。
魔力の痕跡などから解析した結果、村を襲った魔族の主力は4体、どれも村から姿を消しています。
4体もいたのか。
そのうち1体は魔族の将軍。4本の剣で騎士団を仕留めています。
将軍って何なんだ？
熟練の魔族の戦士のことだよ。強大な魔力で身体能力を強化して武術を操るんだ。中には愚道者のように何百年もかけて武を極める連中もいる。魔王軍にはアイゼンよりずっと強い将軍もいたよ。
マジかよ。
おまけ
Whoa.
に今回の相手は人の姿とはかけ
No,
離れ
it's
てい
okay,
る
it's
可能
okay.
性が高い。
Because Aizen
それって
said
何か
that
まずいのか？
シュタルク
Stark was
金
far
4
stronger
本を持
than
った
him.
剣術の達人と戦ったことある？それが騎士団が負けた原因だろうね。
it was unexpected.
レボルテ様、獲物が網にかかりましたよ。魔力の高いごちそうです。魔法使い4人に戦士1人、うち3人は
One
1級です。
warrior, 3 mages.
仕掛けますか？
3 mages? There's 4.
嫌な予感がする。
Yeah.
分散するまで待とう。そのために大勢殺して喧嘩を売ったんだ。私はこの北部高原で多くの村落を滅ぼすうちに気がついたことがある。
なんです。
それじゃあ魔族の探索に出発しよう。
Not good.
まずは北にある放棄された砦に向かおうか。そういう場所は魔族の潜伏先になってることが多いから
Oh,
ね。
that's right. I forgot. Okay. Very intelligent and concerning for that demon. But I forgot the only reason it can detect 3 mages is because Frieren has learned over the years of time to lower her mage ability, I think. Her mana. So they can't really detect her mana. I forgot about that. And then Fern also has that, but I don't know if it's as much as Frieren's, where she can like lower her detection. Okay, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Because Gino is a mage, right? Or maybe he's not. I don't know. Anyways, so maybe they won't be able to separate because Frieren's there, but I don't know. I'm thinking of like the previous episode where she did have a hard time with the creature because it did catch her before she used her ability. The demon is smart to be cautious around them, though. So maybe he does have a plan to separate them. That creature is very concerning, though.
待て。ノルム騎士団が死体を引き取るまで誰か村に残った方がいい。
That's true.
私が残ろう。
人間には死体を守るために村に残る習性がある。
Oh no.
なぜなんだろう。すごく気になります。
人間に関心があるのか。変わったやつだ。
Is that
人間は
demon?
時々理
So
屈
they
が
are
通らない
demons.
不可解な行動をとります。それがなぜなのか知りたいのです。
理由を知る必要はない。そういえば、人類について研究している変わり者の魔族がいると聞いたことが。
Oh.
そうなんですか？その方についてもっと教えてください。
お前が役に立てば教えてやる。
本当ですか？約束ですよ、レボルテ様。
俺も村に残るよ。
バカかお前は。
Yeah.
これから魔族と戦いに行くんだぞ。前衛がいなくてどうする？
あんただってそうだろう。
Exactly.
村に魔族が戻ってきたらどうする？
問題ない。
Stark has a
私は前衛がいなくてもそれなりに戦える。
それはフリーレンたちも同じだろ
限度があるけどね。
う。それでも
yeah.
やばくなったらうまく逃げるだろ。
まあね。
でもあんたはこの村を捨てて逃げられない。
シュタルク、ここにあるのは死体だ。
Yeah.
それを守るためにあんたはここに残るんだろ。
Mhm.
好きにしろ。
I love that Stark is understanding more about what needs to be protected. I'm just glad he's outgrowing his
シュタルク、
past.
お前はいいやつだな。俺はお前のようなやつを知っている。きっと長生きできない。
Well, gee,
俺には
thanks for the
あんたが
advice,
いいやつ
dude.
に見えるよ。
Mhm.
こんなになっちまった村をまだ守ろうとしている。俺にはできなかったことだ。
That's true.
私はいいやつではないさ。それとは正反対の人間だ。北側諸国の平穏のために何だってやってきた。そのために人だって殺してきたし、大勢見捨ててきた。報いなのかもしれんな。人の死というものにはなれる。故郷が滅びたのに何も感じない。ただこうす
Felt
るべきだと思
nothing?
う。
Dude. My butt, you felt nothing. Frieren could tell you were bloodlusted for these demons for destroying your hometown. Bullcrap. Calling out his bullcrap.
ただこうするべきだと思っ
I
た
think
から
he's unaware of his
私はこの
feelings,
村に
though.
残っている。散々見捨ててきたのに、私は今更何をやっているんだろうな。
ここからは長距離探知はなるべく使わないようにね。それにコミュニケーションはチームワークを高めるんだよ。
I
そ
think
れでしたらフ
I
リーレン
hope
さ
he
ん、
did.
なでなでしてもいいですか？私、ちっちゃい子の頭を撫でるのが好きなので
Oh
す
my
が、
gosh.
ゼイリエ
Okay.
様はあまり撫でさせてくれなくて、
Aww.
しかもすごく嫌そうな顔をするんです。
私だって嫌な顔するよ。だいたい私はメトーデよりもずっとお姉さんなんだから。
そうです。フリーレン様はお姉さんなんですから、
Mhm.
気安く触らないでください。
フリーレンさん、ここに卵を割った時に殻が入らなくなる魔法があるのですが、
Ooh, it's
好
Grimoire.
きなだけ撫
You
でて
can
い
pet
い
me
よ。
all you
フ
want.
リーレン様、
As long as you
な
give
で
her
な
a
では
grimoire.
1日10分までだ。
そんなフリーレンさん、少しだけギューってしてもいいですか？
もう
She
好き
must
にしてい
really
いよ。
like doing
好き
that.
にしていいんですか？
何？
ちぎれちゃう。
Frieren is dead.
魔力探知されましたね。敵にこちらの位置がバレました。
気づかれたな。
ふむ。始めようか。
I'm a bit worried.
ネベラドーラ。
視界と魔力探知を塞がれた。
Oh, thank goodness.
ネトーデと分断されたか。
Well, yeah.
やり手だね。
Oh, that's bad. Yep, they're skilled.
魔族は二人とも飛んでいました。
話したでしょ。40年前まで空は魔族の独壇場だった。それは今でも同じだよ。
でも魔族は一つの魔法しか研究しないって。
フェルンは歩くことに特別な技術はいると思う？それと同じなんだ。まるで魔王軍の連中の戦い方だ。
Ooh. Oh no.
ネトーデが快適したようだね。フェルン、戦闘は任せるから。
Okay.
どうしてですか？
Why?
これは一
She
級魔法
trusts
使い
you,
に
that's
与え
why.
られた任務だ。一級魔法使いはフェルンでしょ。
フリーレン様、こんな時に。
何
Yes.
も問題はないよ。勝てる相手だ。
Oh. Come on, Fern. You got this.
ほらね。
フリーレン様が指をさしたから反応できただけで、攻撃は全く探知できませんでした。
Fern, please. You've been doubting yourself throughout this whole season.
相手は格上です。
大丈夫。フェルンなら勝てるよ。
Yeah, Fern, believe in Frieren's words. She wouldn't let you fight him off if she knew you weren't going to be able to defeat him.
魚釣ってきたぜ。
Hey!
夜食にどうだ？
He actually caught
いい
fish that are
メトーデに
worthy.
怒られるんだ。夜食は不健康だってな。
Oh.
そっか。じゃあ俺だけ。
Yep.
フェルンには言わないでね。
ああ
なあ、ゲナウ。村を襲った魔族に心当たりがあるんだろ？
真偽のレボルテ。私の相棒を殺した魔族だよ。それは奴が魔法で作り上げた4本の剣に由来する。奴の剣は重さを自在に変えられるんだ。時には羽より軽く、鋭く。時には巨岩のように重い。神話の時代に山を砕いた剣になぞらえて。
And he
真
didn't
偽の祭
explain
剣と
this
呼ばれている。
to Frieren and
軽
Fern
くて鋭く
why?
てとんでもなく重いってことか。
シュタルク。
I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. It can't be. Is it the four sword demon? Not the four sword demon. Oh my goodness, it's the four sword demon. This is troubling because the warrior that Frieren said was stronger than Stark. Stark is gonna die. Damn it all. Don't kill Stark, please.
四刀流。
戦士一人に一級魔法使い一人。やはり村を守っていたか。読み通りだな。
He knew?
レボルテだ。
He knew
こ
the
いつは
outcome?
私のことを知っているようだな。特にそこの一級魔法使いはどこかで見た顔だ。
Well, you killed his partner,
何者だ
dude.
奴の斬撃をまともに受けるなよ。正面から受ければ最悪消し飛ぶ。
Yeah.
何者だと聞いている。
お前は害虫を駆除するときにいちいち名乗りを上げるのか？
No. David.
我らには言葉があるというのに。だがお前たちが話し合いを望まないというのであれば、
Why would he?
私も害虫駆除とやらに徹するとしよう。
Oh.
正面から受けるなってどうすりゃいいんだ。
戦士なら受け流すくらいできるだろう。
けどそれじゃ。
Oh. Oh, I would be careful too.
ゲナを守れない。
守る必要なんてないさ。こう見えて接近戦は得意なんだ。
Yeah, I mean, he's a first class mage. Stark. I would worry more about how to protect yourself.
この世ならざる物質を作り出すのは何も魔族の魔法だけじゃない。ディガドナート。
黒金の翼を操る魔法。面白い。
I want to discuss Kinu's words when he said first class mages love fighting more than 3 meals a day. I want to discuss all of the great mages that I know of and of the first class when they say that. I will say when it seems like in a way that makes sense because I thought about all the mages that we have seen from the first season and second season, and but when I think about like Frieren, Fern, Flame, I don't see that they love fighting more than 3 meals a day. And it's not like actual when I think of like actual food, I'm thinking more of the first class loves mages love fighting more than something else. Because I can tell you right now, Fern is not like that at all. She likes her meal. And if there is a episode ever or a chapter or whatever about her eating her food and she's interrupted by a demon, I believe she is going to be ticked because you do not interrupt her while she's eating her favorite food. And then Frieren, she just loves learning about magic, similar to her master Flame. And Frieren and Flame do not like demons because they did kill their hometown. So, in a way, they only do it when it's necessary. Fern also doesn't like demons. Most of these mages do not like demons because they did destroy their hometown. But Fern, it's the same as with her, but she also wants to move forward with her journey. So if she needs to kill a demon, she will kill a demon to move forward in her path. Yubel, she feels more like she does love fighting, but it's more having the rush, the adrenaline rush of excitement when she to see how strong she could be to like cut them. Cause because like in the first season when they discuss about her past, she saw her sister or her mom cutting. That intrigued her and it was very interesting and she wonders how she can get that like slice. So in a way she is kind of creepy, but she's also a very interesting character. Land, I feel that he likes to be more relaxed, but he will use his clone to defeat a demon. And in a way, if he does defeat a demon using that ability, it feels like a victory to him. Rebel, he uses magic as a tool for combat to protect his homeland. Dinkin, when we see his flashback, it was more out of desperation to become a mage, to do everything in his ability so that he can cure his wife, but she died, unfortunately. And now he's having that same pattern where he's feeling desperate to become a first mage so that he could go to the Northern Plateau to go see his wife's graveyard. Which, by the way, I'm very concerned because I don't know if it's in a graveyard or a cremac. If it's in a cremac, good, hopefully. But if it's not, I'm very concerned those monsters already got to her graveyard, which would be very sad and probably very upsetting for Dinkin. And I do not want to know what his ability could be if anything happens to his wife's graveyard. Because I can guarantee it's not going to look good for those demons. But yeah, or the monsters. Methode, she'll just do anything as long as she look cute. And her magic is more like a support magic because I do remember in the previous they were trying to see I can't remember. It was something with Frieren to see like her ability or to see what they can do to defeat her other clone, what that wasn't going to happen. And in the previous episode, she was more of a healer, so she was trying to heal. So she's like more of a support mage, which is nice because if they ever get injured, she's there to help them. So, Gino, Gino, his ability, he uses it to kill all those demons. He has no sympathy for those demons, and I really like the previous episode and this episode because I'm starting to understand Gino. At first, I thought he was unaware of his feelings, but now that I'm thinking about it more, I think he's trying to hide his emotions, like bury it, trying to show no sign of weakness. And you could tell because he was thinking about his partner and how he said he would never try to protect a little girl just so that they couldn't kill the demon, which they failed to do so. Then the other thing he did was he helped all of the people in his village get into the church and use a barrier. And he's still saying he doesn't have any emotions, telling this to Stark that he is not a good person and that he didn't have any feelings. Bullcrap, by the way, because he did show some signs of that emotion, but he's just trying to show no sign of weaknesses because I believe that after having so many of these demons manipulate these people, it angers him in a sense because they were manipulated, and if he shows any sign of weaknesses, then those demons could get to him and kill him, which is why he probably has that emotion. And because when the baker's son also died, he clutched to the baker's son's pants because he was hoping that he would still be alive, but he limped over and he was really hoping that he wouldn't be dead. And he wants to protect his village even though he keeps saying he's not a good person, but I do believe that he is a good person. He just doesn't want to show that sign of weaknesses. That sign of weakness. Sari is a complex character because it's not like she seeks for battle, but when she does get messages about a battle or of demons, this is when she uses her strategy, her mages, as some sort of tool for killing and battling. And when her mages come back with victory, it's great for her because they are worthy of their title that she has given them. But if they lose, she's disappointed because they weren't worthy of their title to begin with, that she ranked them as. So it's complicated because when she says when I think about it, she also tells one of her one of her students learning in the first season. She said he's not worthy and that he's of old age and he will never be able to like surpass her or be what she wants him to be. And she does this to most of her students, but when you think about it, she does remember all their ability and uses their ability in some sort of way. That's why she's such a complicated character because she does care for her students. She doesn't show it. Well, she kind of shows it because you could see it in the exam and her probably in her area, but she doesn't express that, and I don't know if she's aware of it. I don't believe she's aware of it. It's just what she feels, and I don't because Frieren doesn't even have feelings, but she realized that she regretted not spending that time with Himmel, and that's probably the same with Sari. Like she probably regrets, but she just doesn't really understand. And I'm starting to understand in some sense. I get the feeling that most of these characters that are human, that they're getting to these elves, such as Frieren and Siri, they're getting to their feelings where they can actually start understanding these emotions themselves, but it's just not as but just not as well as the humans, these humans. And yeah, sense sensei sense sensei I can't remember. uh she's a very mysterious character. I don't really know her ability, but yeah, she's very interesting with her ability because she is more of a pacifist, and yet she uses a very disturbing ability because even though she uses something that could protect them despite whatever the outcome, despite any enemies they go that goes after them, they will be protected. But then when you see the clones in the exam, I wonder why the heck she decided this exam in particular for them to pass. And I think it's more of a survival instinct where she shows that she will give them a goblet that will protect them, but she's also trying to show the reality of what it means to become a first mage. So that's why I think she's a very mysterious way. I feel like she's just trying to help them see what it actually means to become a mage, like a first class mage. Learning, I feel like he wants to be the person that Siri wants him to be, and he's been desperately trying to advance as much as he can due to his age, like especially with his age, but he's never has surpassed that. So, and I don't even know if we're gonna know more about him. Um, Himmel, Hyder, and other side characters we probably really don't really know has died. Fels, I don't know much about him. I just know he had a conversation with Sensei in the room where they were getting where in the exam room in the first season where they were talking about what they have to do to become a first mage and introduction and who their teammates are and so on and so forth. And they were just discussing each character in the room by detecting their mana. And yeah, Burke, he died. He was a first class mage, but then he died by Yubel. So, there's not much to discuss about him other than he just died. I don't know what to say. Anyways, now that I've said all of that, Gino was mentioning about his partner and how he died and calling him a fool for protecting that little girl when he shouldn't, because if he hadn't done that, they could have killed the demon. But because of his foolishness of being a good person, he died. And that's why he asked Methode that question if she's a good person. And then he also has warned Stark not to protect him and that he's a good person that was willing to stay behind with him. But Stark wanted to stay behind because he knew how important this was to him. And he knew Frieren and the others could run away if they get really bad for them. But he knew that Ginu could not run away because despite the circumstances, he will stay and protect his village. And that's what I love about Stark's character, because he always, like, even though he's moving forward with his journey and with his life, he still thinks back about his hometown multiple times throughout this season, actually, because Northern Plateau is a home for them, and he ran away from his hometown. And I I just think that Stark is just trying to find a way to not run away from situations like that because he regrets that. That's probably similar to Aizen, like he regrets that he ran away from home, but they move forward, and that's what I love about this story is that you move forward. You don't go back into your past because you can't fix anything in the past. You got to fix what is now. And for Stark to do that is just amazing. And he sees the good quality in Ginu, even though Ginu doesn't see that in himself. And that's probably because Ginu is not wanting to show any sign of weaknesses, so he buries it deep inside what he's feeling because he just got to the point where he feels so numb to it. Because he did mention, Ginu has mentioned that he has forsaken and has killed many people so that he can bring peace to the northern lands. And that's probably why he's so numb to the feeling when demons kill humans. He's done that himself as well because he's been desperately trying to, well, to have peace in the northern lands. I wish Ginu would have mentioned that this demon that they were up against, one of the demons that could be around this area would be Revolte. I wish he would have mentioned that to Frieren and the others before they got into action. But luckily, Revolte came to them, but I'm also very concerned because Frieren did mention in the previous episode that that captain that has died was a lot stronger than Stark, which is very surprising because does that mean that captain was also stronger than Aizen? Because Aizen has mentioned that Stark was stronger than him, and that's one of the reasons he hit Stark because he was scared of him, because he knew he was strong. And for Stark, this would be interesting to see how much he can improve, but I'm also concerned about him getting killed in the process. But it's the other thing I'm concerned is I could see Ginu dying, but then he showed that wing that he has been using that spell, and he called it discard not, so that it manipulates wings because 40 years ago demons ruled the skies, and flying isn't magic. It's more so as a common. And I think of it as like Fern and Frieren's ability, where they use their shield as protection, which is common. And it's not one type of magic. I mean, I feel like there's this magic because Soul Track was a difficult spell, but it's it's a simple spell that's very powerful though. Even though Revolt, the demon, which I thought was a monster, so I'm like still somewhat confused, but that's okay. Um, Revolt has detected 3 mages and 1, or I think the other demon has detected 3 mages and 1 warrior. And he knew that they would separate because the thing about humans is that they always wanting to protect the village, and it doesn't make sense to them. And that's probably where the demon's curiosity goes about, is they're always curious about the humans because it seems so illogical. That's probably why Ginu is probably showing no sign of weakness and hiding his feelings buried deep inside, because when he shows that emotion, that's when the demon knows that they can strike them in their weakness. No, but he also Revolt has also mentioned that there is one demon interested in humans, an eccentric demon that is interested in humans who studies humanities. And to me, that is very concerning. I know I've mentioned that it could probably be this or that, but I'm really convinced that the demon that is very interested in the human's emotions, and based on seeing how the previous season and this season, we have been because we're seeing Fern understanding human feelings because she regrets not being able to spend that time to understand Himmel as much as she did. And now she's having that journey with Fern and Stark as she goes throughout the area. And that's the main character. The enemy, this is why I feel like one of the seven sage of destruction, the enemy, which probably will be the last one, like the boss, the final boss, I don't know. But I feel like he's trying to understand humans, which could be, I doubt it's going to be good because he might be like the final boss, which would be the villain. So I'm pretty sure he's trying to be more powerful into manipulating. And I feel like it could be scary as some way because if he understands the human's aspect, it could be like a very dangerous weapon against humans. Meaning it could be very dangerous against Fern, against Stark, hopefully not Frieren, because Fern and Stark are even relying on her when it comes to that. But if they aren't with Frieren, they're screwed. They're going to be killed. Fern and Stark already showed in the first episode of season 2, or episode 2? Yeah, episode 2 of season 2, that they were about to pray when that was a demon, and they were about to get killed. And if it wasn't for Frieren, they probably would have been dead or injured. I don't know. Because I don't feel like these demons would have no sympathy if they were injured because it would probably kill them more. And this is probably why Frieren wants to make sure Fern and Stark are always on guard, because if they get to the point where they're injured, it'll probably be very dangerous for them. Yeah, so that's my theory. I feel like that demon is one of the seven sages of destruction that is trying to understand human, and that it could be very dangerous if he somehow manages to accomplish that. But I'm pretty sure it's doubtful, but he could be a very dangerous person to be around. And he'll probably be the final boss, I think. Anyways, I cannot wait for the next episode with Ginu versus Revolte, because that will be interesting, especially since I seen his ability using the wings used when Ginu used his ability to manipulate the Nilo wings, and Revolt does have 4 swords, and he manipulate magic onto that object. So his swords, it's a complicated situation because his swords could be sharp and light as a feather. So it could probably see, this would be interesting if Yubel was up against this character, but then again, probably not, because the sword can also feel like a boulder when cutting. But yeah. So I can't wait for the next episode. So you lovely comrades, have a wonderful, beautiful, and an amazing day. I'm not kidding. Love you, comrades. Bye!